Welcome back to the Talking Babab. Sit down. I have been waiting for you. We are in week 8. The business is secured. The documents are ready. Anadiz Okafor, who has spent 8 weeks performing normalcy while quietly dismantling everything that was done to her, has arrived at the moment she has been preparing for. This is the part of the story where most people expect a dramatic confrontation. Shouting. Perhaps a scene in a public place. Perhaps tears. But Adaeze does not do dramatic confrontation. She does something much more interesting than that. On a Saturday morning in March, Adaeze told Chidi she would like to have a conversation. She said it calmly. She set a time, 10 o'clock. She said she would like to sit down properly. She said she had something she wanted to discuss. Chidi did not know. He had no reason to suspect. The 8 weeks had been entirely normal from his perspective. Adaeze going to work, coming home, making dinner, being his wife. He thought the conversation was perhaps about a business decision or something domestic. He came to the sitting room at 10 o'clock. He found Adaeze at the table. On the table, the folder. Every document. The audit. The supplier records. The bank records. The NGO Enterprises registration documents, which she had obtained from the Corporate Affairs Commission. The credit agreement that he had signed as new signatory without her knowledge. He sat down. He looked at the documents. She said nothing for a full minute. She let him understand what he was looking at. Then she said, "I know everything, Chidi. Not some of it. Everything. I have known for 8 weeks. I want you to hear what I am about to say very carefully." He opened his mouth. "Don't," she said. "Please don't apologize yet. Just listen." She spoke for 20 minutes. She told him what she knew, what she had done, what was now legally protected, and what she intended to do next. She was not shouting. She was not crying. She delivered the information with the precision of a business presentation. Because it was a business presentation. Her business. Her life. Her terms. At the end, she said, "You have 2 choices, Chidi. The first choice is that we resolve this privately, legally, and cleanly. You sign the separation papers Mr. Adaeze has prepared. You withdraw from all supplier agreements. You return the 2,300,000 naira that passed through NGO Enterprises from my business accounts. You do this within 30 days. And I do not file a criminal complaint for fraud." He looked at her. "What is the second choice?" he asked. "The second choice," she said, "is that I file the criminal complaint on Monday morning, and you explain to the police, and eventually to a judge, how your signature appears on a credit agreement that I did not authorize." He was very quiet. "Which one do you choose?" she asked. He chose the first one. He chose it the way people choose the first option when the second one ends in a courtroom. Not from remorse. From consequence. She saw this. She noted it. She stood up. She said, "I will need your answer in writing, witnessed, before this weekend is over." She went to the kitchen and made herself a cup of tea. Ngozi was different. If Chidi was the instrument, Ngozi was the hand. And Adaeze had known, as she planned these 2 conversations, that they would not go the same way. She drove to Ngozi's house on Sunday afternoon. She had not called ahead. She knocked on the gate. Ngozi opened it herself. She was in house clothes, relaxed, no reason to be on guard. She smiled when she saw Adaeze. The smile was genuine. That was the thing about Ngozi. Even now, she could smile that smile. "Ada," she said. "I didn't know you were coming." "I know," Adaeze said. "May I come in?" She sat in Ngozi's sitting room. She placed the folder on the coffee table. She watched Ngozi's face as her eyes moved to the folder. Something shifted there, not guilt, not yet. First, the calculation. The rapid mental accounting that people who have been doing something wrong engage in the moment they realize the wrong person has arrived. Adaeze watched the calculation happen. She let it complete. Then she said, "I know you registered NGO Enterprises. I know it was your idea. I know you approached my supplier in Kano first. I know you brought Chidi in afterward. I know you used 20 years of friendship to access everything I worked to build. Ngozi was very still. I know because I know you, Adaeze said. I know how you think. I know what you are capable of. I think in some part of me I always knew. I just loved you more than I trusted my own knowledge of you. Something finally moved across Ngozi's face. It was not what Adaeze expected. It was not shame. It was relief, the specific, terrible relief of being found out by the one person whose finding out matters. And then, for the first time in the entire story, Ngozi said something honest. I am sorry, Ada. Truly. Adaeze looked at her for a long time. Then she said, Tell me why. And Ngozi told her. She had been in financial difficulty for 2 years. Her own business had failed. Her marriage was struggling. She was drowning and nobody knew. She had looked at Adaeze's business and thought, just a little. Just enough to stabilize. Just this one adjustment. And the one adjustment became another, and another, until she was in too deep to stop. This is how betrayal grows, by the way. Not in one bold decision. In 100 small adjustments, each one a little further than the last. Adaeze listened to all of it. When Ngozi finished, Adaeze said, I have the same 2 choices for you as I gave Chidi. Sign the withdrawal documents. Return the money through your own account. Or I go to the police on Monday. Ngozi said, And after I do this? Are we? We are nothing after this, Adaeze said quietly. Not enemies. Nothing. 20 years of friendship does not survive this. I loved you enough to give you the choice. That's all that's left of what we were. She stood up. She collected her folder. She drove home. She was not crying. She was not numb. She was the cleanest kind of clear. The kind that comes after something that needed to be said has finally been said. Both Chidi and Ngozi signed the withdrawal documents before the weekend was over. The money began moving back into the correct accounts on the following Monday. The supplier agreements were cancelled. The NGO enterprises' signatories were removed. Anadiz Okafor, who had spent 8 weeks building this moment, sat in Mr. Eze's office on Monday afternoon and signed her name to the separation papers. Quietly, without ceremony, without drama. The way she built everything, one careful signature at a time. The lesson of this episode is about the choice. Adaeze gave both of them a choice, not because she was soft, but because she was wise. She understood that a courtroom fight would take years, would cost money, would drain her energy that was better used building. She chose a resolution that protected her business, returned her money, and ended both relationships cleanly, without the extended performance of public drama. There is a kind of revenge that looks like destruction. And then there is the kind of justice that looks like moving on. The second kind costs less and lasts longer. The river does not fight the stone. It flows around it. Eventually the stone is alone. The money has been returned. The papers have been signed. Chidi has moved out. Ngozi has disappeared from her life. Anadiz Okafor is standing in the wreckage of 2 of the most important relationships she has ever had. She could be broken. She has every right to be broken. But Adaeze's mother planted 5,000 naira in her daughter's hands 20 years ago and told her to grow it. And Adaeze has never once eaten the seed money. Episode 4, The Higher Building. This is the episode where you understand why we call her the woman who swallowed fire. Under the Talking Babab. Loudspeaker friends, if you have been watching since episode 1, you have been extraordinary company under this tree. Please share this series with 5 people today. Tell them there is a story they need to hear. And subscribe if you haven't yet. The final episode is the one that will stay with you the longest.